is I, Nomad, coming to you from the wastelands of the internet. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is a horrorscape out here of apocalyptic proportions. So what am I going to talk about today? Well, there's been a lot of mention about Brett Favre and it's Brett Favre's scandal down in Mississippi. Now, you would think that these people know what they're talking about because people are trying to mention this in the same vein as what's been happening to Kyrie Irving, and they've been trying to constantly say, well, Brett Favre, there's nothing really talking about Brett Favre, and poor Kyrie, he's getting raked over the coals. And I'll say this again, Kyrie is being treated like crap. Kyrie didn't do anything wrong. And yes, they are raking him over the coals, but it's not a comparison to Brett Favre. In fact, if you take a look at the situation, okay, they're not comparable at all. Now, what am I talking about? This doesn't mean that Brett Favre didn't do nothing, okay? The problem is what Brett Favre may or may not have done is going to be very hard to prove any intent. And I'll explain to you what I'm talking about here. Because we have, for the Brett Favre scandal, this report. And I'm trying to give an update because I've been trying to stay on top of this as the supposed, and I'm using this word really loosely, supposed investigation goes forward. So what do we know from CNN News, right? What do we know about Brett Favre, or Favre, which is, I think, how it's actually supposed to be pronounced, Favre, all right? And the Mississippi welfare scandal. Oh, it's the Mississippi welfare scandal. No, ladies and gentlemen, it is not a Mississippi welfare scandal, and you're going to find this out. CNN, May 2020. Mississippi State Auditor announced that the Department of Human Services had wasted tens of millions of dollars in federal money. What do you mean? Well, hold on. Department of Human Services? The Department of Human Services, the Federal Department of Human Services? Okay. In federal money meant to be used to help needy families. Now, this statement, okay, is at best an exaggeration. It's not meant to help needy families, folks. Not really. And you'll find this out. Since then, the investigation into these misspent funds has expanded to include state officials, bureaucrats, celebrity sports figures, including retired NFL quarterback Brett Favre. 6 people have faced criminal charges, and back and forth legal filings in an ongoing civil lawsuit have led to the publication of eye-opening private text messages. Here's what we know about the welfare scandal, Favre's role, and where the case stands now. Mississippi State Auditor Shad White announced in May of 2020 that the Department of Human Services wasted tens of millions of dollars in welfare grant funds. Ding, 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 ding. These are welfare grant funds. Through misspending, personal use, and spending on family members, friends of staffers, and grantees. Oh, okay. An 8-month-long investigation showed that the department have more than $98 million gave $98 million to 2 nonprofits, the Mississippi Community Education Center and the Family Resource Center of North Mississippi. Of the $98 million, $94 million was questioned, meaning it either definitely was misspent or auditors were unable to determine if it was legally spent. Most of the money came from the Temporary Assistance for the Needy Families, a federal program that gives grant funding to states which are then supposed to use the money to help low-income families and children. Really? Then why doesn't it say that? Why are these grants open for spending by the state? You see, this is the problem with this. You gave the money saying, okay, well, we want you to work on these programs that essentially in the end will help the poor. But like all government funds, it's a money laundering frickin' situation. Oh, we're not going to tell you how you have to spend the funds. We're not going to delineate that this has to go towards money to poor families under a specific median income, right? No. We're just going to say, well, here's a grant of money. You guys spend it how you want. You see, because the welfare and the needy children and the needy families, well, see, they already get their welfare checks. Are they supposed to use this money to increase the size of the welfare checks? Why didn't they say that? Why didn't they put that out there like that? Why is none of this isolated or spent this way? Because they didn't do it. It's a money laundering situation, folks. 2 years ago, my office audited the DHS, Department of Human Services. White said in a statement on October 2021, after 2 years of work, we have found tens of millions of dollars in misspending. Those findings have now been confirmed this month by an independent forensic audit commissioned by DHS. It's time for the taxpayers to attempt to recover what we lost. One of the recipients of these funds was Favre, the Hall of Fame quarterback and Mississippi native. According to the audit, the Mississippi Community Education Center directly paid him $1.1 million in TANF funds for promotional ads and speaking appearances that the state auditor said never occurred. Now, the problem with that is, okay, you paid him this money, so he will do these ads, he will do these things. They haven't occurred yet. Okay? Now, I'm not saying he had any intention of actually doing this. This is the thing. Favre is not all right, is not innocent in this matter. All right? You got to understand this. All right? Favre returned $500,000 in May of 2020 and repaid the remaining $600,000 in October of 2021 after the state auditor issued a demand letter for it, according to the auditor's office. But the auditor's office maintains that Favre still owes $228,000 in interest payments. Why? Oh, you're trying to play the game of, well, we're going to charge interest now on money that we supposedly gave you that we expected no income from. All right, but now we want income from it. All right, that good luck getting that. That's why this is a civil suit in court. Favre has said that he has been asking the state for funds to build a new volleyball stadium at the University of Southern Mississippi, where he played football from 1987 to 1990, and where his daughter plays volleyball from 2017 to 2022. The media outlet Mississippi Today, which has covered the scheme for several years, has reported that at least $5 million of the welfare funds were channeled to the new facility. Okay. Favre has a state-run university and says there needs to be funds going to the state-fund university, the state-run university. And they channeled some of this money from the welfare program, all right, as promotional materials, all right, and ads and so forth and so on, etc., etc. The problem here begins with the federal government. How did you give $98 million and not sit up there and delineate where that money's going to go? How come you didn't specify? How come these were discretionary funds? You see the problem here? You're trying to say, well, this was meant for the poor, and this is meant for the homeless, and this is meant for the poor families and so forth, and the children. Then why didn't you specify it had to go to children? Why didn't you specify it had to go to people who had medium incomes under a certain point? Why did you leave it up and put these funds out to be used, all right, at the state's discretion? Nobody's arguing that point. In fact, that's the problem here. Where are the federal officials who gave these funds without any strings attached and said, well, use them as you want? John Davis, 54, a former director of Mississippi's Department of Human Services, pled guilty to 2 federal counts and 18 state counts. All right. Nancy New, the founder of the nonprofit Mississippi Community Education Center, pled guilty to charges of bribery, fraud, mail fraud, and racketeering. Zach New, her son and assistant executive director of the center, pled guilty to bribery, fraud, and mail fraud. Annie McGrew, an accountant for the center, pled guilty to conspiracy. Brett DeBlaise, I don't know how to pronounce his name, for those who are looking at this. All right. A former professional wrestler who received needy family funds for fake work. So these are needy family funds for fake work. Pled guilty to making fraudulent statements. In addition, the Mississippi Department of Human Services brought a civil suit against more than 35 individuals and entities, including Favre, all right, the Mississippi Community Education Center, to recover some of the funds. Why the text messages from Favre have been released. That lawsuit and its ongoing legal findings have revealed several private text messages between Favre and the former governor, Phil Bryant. Well, where's Phil Bryant in this? Why isn't he in jail? Okay? For example, in August of 2017, all right, Favre wrote to Nancy New, the founder of the new profit MCEC, about his concerns about media publicity. If you were to pay me, is there any way for the media to find out where this came from and how much? Favre wrote. No, we've never had that information publicized, said New. Okay. So you're going to pay him promotional money for ads, all right? It doesn't sound like that Favre did anything illegal in that regard. Is this shady as hell? Oh, you bet it is. Does this make him look bad? Sure. Does he need to be raked over the coals? Does a serious investigation need to be on it? You bet. But why isn't there one? Ask yourself this question. Why isn't there a serious investigation going? Where is this? Where is this money? And I'll tell you why. Because, like I said, it's a money laundering situation. The people who are on the hook, the people who are accountable, the people who should be right now being dragged in front of a federal court, right, are the people who gave these funds from the federal government. Who issued these funds from the federal government? I want a name. Where's the officials at? Oh, we got a few small little state officials here and there that have pled guilty to bribery and so forth, as you can tell. But where are the real criminals here? Where are the 98 the people who gave the funding for the $98 million? At no point, okay, does CNN respond to this? Oh, they drag Favre in this. The rest of the story is about Favre. Okay. They keep talking about the scandal of Favre because he obviously knew where the funds were coming from. He obviously knew it was part of a welfare handout grant. And he should pay the price for it. He should sit up there and be made to answer, at least in the court of law, of a criminal court, not a civil court. I hate to say this, but Favre is not a poor person. Okay? He can pay any fines you so desire. All right? If it really comes down to, oh, we're going to sit up there and fine him. Okay. Is that justice? This is what I'm talking about when I say things like there's no different the difference that you're trying to show between Favre and Kyrie. The only difference is the color of their skin. No. There's huge differences here. There's multiple people involved in this, including the former governor of the state of Mississippi. And in his own way, this jackass, Favre, is going to sit up there. I can tell you right now what he's going to do. He's going to say, well, I was kind of questioning where these funds were coming from. That's why I put these tweets out like this. That's why I put these email messages out like this. I was trying to say, is this really on the up and up? Is this what's really going on? Is this completely legal? That was my way of doing it. That's what he's going to do in court. Because that's what creeps like this do. But it's not being held out of the news because of, well, Favre is white. It's being held out of the news because there are federal officials working right now in the DHS, in the department which let these funds out, that they're skating by. Nobody's questioning them. Nobody's saying anything about people who wrote and gave away tens of millions, close to $100 million in federal grant money, gave close to $100 million in federal grant money with no strings attached. As discretionary funds, use it as you so wish. Who are these guys? Do they still have jobs? Where's the accountability? And this is my problem with people when they mention this scandal in the same breath as Kyrie Irving. Okay, Kyrie Irving's getting screwed over by the leftists. No shit, really? The woke left went after him because he got off the reservation? Because he got off the plantation and was roaming around on his own. Well, we can't have that. A leftist black person, we're going to sit up there and castigate him. And if for all the people who think that they're just doing this because they're black, no, they did that because he's acting independent. Otherwise, he would be sacrosanct. Otherwise, all these scandals would just disappear. AKA Barack Hussein Obama. And the scandals, they'll tell you right now, well, there were never any scandals. There were never any scandals during the Obama administration. There are scandals galore. It's just the media was never going to report on any of them. They were never going to tell you the truth about any of them. Because he was a good little Marxist leftist and was pushing the Marxist leftist agenda to destroy the country. But accountability? Please. I can hear people crying now. No man. What about all the other people? What about George Bush lied and people died? George Bush lied. Okay, you want to play that game? Let's go back then to your actions under one William Jefferson Blythe Clinton. You know, and his wonderful wife Hillary. Yeah. You can't see the difference, though, can you? You can't tell the difference between them. It's amazing, isn't it? Simply amazing. All right, everybody. That's all I got about this. Hope you enjoyed my little rant. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.